you ever get sued?
Yes.
Tell me about that.
I was not sued for malpractice. I was sued in connection with being a notary. I notarized something that the person that signed it, they claimed that they were intoxicated when they signed it. And I will add, I was never sued by the guy who was actually claimed he was intoxicated. The guy who was intoxicated sued the law firm who was representing him, different law firm, not Catafego Feeney, for malpractice. That law firm, in turn, said, no, it's not our fault, it's my fault, the notary. When that was my role.
Welcome back to the Confronting the Impossible with me, your host, Leo Jacobs, where we talk about the trials, the tribulations, and the experiences that build resilience, grit, and the future. I have a very special guest with me today, the head of commercial litigation at Jacobs PC, Adam B. Sherman. Adam, nice to see you here today. Good morning to you.
Thanks for having me.
Adam, I wanted to ask, what does B stand for? What's the B?
Brad.
Is that from your grandfather, grandmother, or is it just the middle name they gave you?
It's totally random.
Totally random. So Adam Brad Sherman.
That's right.
Look, at the Confronting the Impossible, we talk about what makes someone successful and what that person has to do to confront the impossible. That could be done in a multitude of ways. It could be done in your personal life, in your professional life. It could be done as a service to your community. It could be done as a service to your loved ones. And I want to talk with you about today who you are, what you represent, and maybe we'll find out a little bit of detail about who you are more deeply. But let's start with the softball questions. Tell me where you grew up, what you've done. Talk to me.
Sure. I grew up on the Upper East Side, Manhattan. I went to college in Manhattan.
What college was it?
Baruch.
Okay.
City University. I went to Hofstra Law School in Long Island. And, now I live on the Upper East Side of Manhattan.
Married, kids?
Married. One daughter who turned one a couple days ago.
Nice. And, what made you get into law?
My grandfather was a lawyer.
I didn't know that.
Yes, and I wanted to follow in his footsteps.
That there was inspiration there.
Yes.
Tell me about that inspiration.
He was known as, and he was kind of like the patriarch of the family. So when there were family get-togethers, he would, run it, so to speak. So I looked up to him. He was a trial attorney, so I wanted to follow in his footsteps.
You grew up on his eyes?
Yes.
Okay. And did he live with your parents, or he lived somewhere else?
In Long Island.
In Long Island. You would visit him often?
Yes.
What was his name?
Jesse.
Jesse Sherman.
Schwartz.
My
mom's dad.
Your mom's dad. And he was a trial lawyer.
Yes.
What's that mean to you?
That is what I think is the most interesting part of this job, where, you're connecting with people. Especially when you have a jury trial. That's really what a trial attorney has to do.
So your aspiration for becoming an attorney was derived out of seeing your grandfather, Jesse, you said?
Yes.
Schwartz.
Yes.
Did you ever see him in action?
Nope. No, he was retired, when I became aware of, that he was, what he was doing.
But it was inspiration to you nevertheless?
Yes.
Did he ever talk to you about the law?
Yes.
What kind of practice was it?
Personal injury.
The personal injury, sometimes has a bad name.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, sometimes a bad name. However, personal injury practice is a very, very nuanced practice. Some of the creative evidentiary hearings and decisions that occur around the country is as a consequence of personal injury. When you're citing even in commercial contexts, you're citing personal injury law, which is fascinating to me. And was it fender benders? What was it about?
I don't know the details too much, but I know it was catastrophic injuries, and he was very good at closing cases quickly.
Negotiations.
Yes.
So that was the initial spark and inspiration.
Yes.
Your dad, what does your dad do?
He's retired now. He used to work for the post office. He did marketing for the postal service. He always used to tell me in the old Yankee Stadium he negotiated the post office sign that was there. Yeah, in the old one. Yeah.
So he was a marketer.
Yes.
Do you have education for that?
I think he has a teaching degree. He never used it, but yeah.
So he's been at the U.S. Post Office for how many years?
He worked there for like 35 years, something like that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did you admire that about your dad? That he was, postal worker?
I did, because, he always used to say that you'd be like, I worked there for so long I didn't go postal.
Because that's a vernacular for going crazy.
Yeah.
Okay. How about your mom's?
She is a pre-K teacher.
Always been? Still a pre-K teacher?
She did a bunch of, she was a travel agent for a long time, but, with the internet that kind of got thrown out. So she's a pre-K teacher now at a school on the... No, she's still doing it on the Upper West Side.
Upper West Side. You said you have a wife. What's
Yes.
your wife do?
Now she's not working. But she did marketing.
And you went to Hofstra Law School. Tell me what you did there. What were the developmental stages of becoming an attorney like? Was it boring? Were there highlights? Was there a turning point that you didn't want to be?
Oh, many times. I
me.
wanted to give up. Just because the way law school is structured is, it's incredibly time consuming. You're in a class of, you're in this big assembly hall of people. You have, most of the grades are based on tests. And
One
then,
test. One test typically, no?
Yeah, one test at the end of the semester.
So you got no
on a curve,
margin of error. Yeah,
on a curve, who knows, you don't really understand why some grades are better than others, and then poof, you're got to study for the bar. It's a very arduous journey.
Were you a B, C, or A student?
Oh, I was a B. I was not top of the class. No.
I was a B plus, A minus guy.
Yeah.
New York Law School, you're Hofstra. When you became an attorney, anything else changed in your life when you became a lawyer?
When you're actually dealing with people as opposed to textbooks, it totally changed my approach.
And was that developmental, I guess, change in your head in dealing with people gives you greater consequence than dealing in the books? When did that happen?
I would say about, took like probably 4 or 5 years where I was trained very regimented, on a regimented basis. And
were you regimented before?
No, not at all. No.
And let's talk about that. When did the regimentation occur?
About 4 or 5 years out.
Of law school?
Yes.
Was that your first job?
Yes.
Tell me about the job. Where'd you work?
Worked at a boutique law firm, not too far from here in Midtown Manhattan. Catafago Feeney.
What do they practice?
Commercial litigation. That broad umbrella.
Did you want to be in commercial litigation?
I didn't even know really what that word meant.
So let's take you back to law school. You're in law school. You have an inspiration from being a trial attorney, personal injury. Why not do personal injury?
That's a good question. It's kind of just organically happened that way. That I was more interested in disputes between, let's say, corporations than trying to value an injury. It didn't really click for me.
Did you have a concentration in law school?
No.
Did you have fun in law school?
No.
You didn't like it?
No.
Why is that?
No. It's incredibly, I didn't enjoy the whole Socratic method. I was one of those people who's like, don't call on me. I didn't really, I read it, but like, come on, give me a break. Give me a break. We're in class here.
Oh, in class.
You know,
So
yeah.
you didn't want to be dealt. You didn't want to deal with it. You just wanted to do your job and work.
I kind of just was like, we're all learning this for the first time. We're, most people are in their early 20s. Being put on the spot is, I suppose it's decent training for later, but I don't really think it's the best way for people just getting into the material to learn it, I guess.
Were you self-directed in that regard?
Yeah, sure.
Study with people, study by yourself?
We had some groups, but I preferred to be kind of on my own.
Okay.
Yeah.
And for the most part, you did well.
Yeah, sure.
How did you develop what you want to practice? You said it was kind of by accident. What do you mean by that?
In the boutique setting where, we had 2 partners and 2 associates, including me, so 4 lawyers, I kind of got hands-on training.
But why did you go to Category Feeney? Why did you do that?
I really was close to one of the partners there.
Before when you were in law school?
No, just some kind of, he had a relationship with one of the firm's clients who I was also close with. And I still speak, I consider him a close friend even today.
Okay.
He kind of mentored me. And then his partner trained me in a incredibly regimented fashion. Yes.
Is his partner still his partner or no?
I believe so, yes. Yeah.
Okay. So how did you know him? How did you get to know that law firm when you were in law school? Did you apply everywhere or did you apply specifically there?
No, it kind of happened by random. They had, I think they, part of the reason why they picked their resume out of the hat was because I interned with the judge that they were familiar with, that they
Which
liked.
judge is that?
Shlomo Hagler.
Shlomo Hagler. What is that, Kings?
No, New York County.
New York County? Commercials?
He's not commercial. He's not part of the commercial division, but I think, frankly, he should be. He's a very, very, very intelligent judge.
So he's part of the current administration in the non-commercial part.
Yeah, I think the general individual assignments part.
He's still a judge.
Yes.
What did you learn, if anything? Was it a good experience?
You really got to see the way a judge approaches a case.
And how does the judge approach a case?
I actually got to see that, you get all their motion papers get hand delivered to them through through the system. It comes to their office. They see the lawyers, kind of how they deal with, how they make a decision on a motion. Like, for example, one thing, that if a judge sees in your motion papers that you quoted something in a slightly inaccurate way, that destroys your credibility. As it frankly should,
Do they point it out to the attorneys or did
No. This is something where they'll read your papers, they'll see you made a cite, they'll look up the case on Westlaw, and if you said a case stands for a certain proposition, which it pretty much didn't, that really stood out to the judge.
And how did that inform you further before your career had really began at Category Feeney?
Catefago Feeney. I know it's a mouthful. It's a mouthful. Yeah.
Catefago Feeney.
They always used to tell me that. They would tell me that, but I didn't really believe it until I kind of heard it from a judge.
So the judge would look at the books or the briefs of both the attorneys, but both sides, and he would make a credibility determination both about the case and about the attorneys as well.
I wouldn't say credibility determination, but if an attorney accurately quoted a case, they would be more persuaded by that.
Interesting. So knowing your papers and doing them right is important.
Yes.
How much weight did the judge give to oral argument?
Not nearly as much as I think clients like to believe.
So there is a predetermination.
Yes, for sure. I've had it before. I personally have had it where I've seen the judge change his mind. Like, I've seen it. Like, you can tell that they made that switch. Oh, okay. But that's the minority in my experience.
How long were you there in that position?
About 4 months.
Was it enough to get a good grasp of how a judge works?
I feel like it was because it was a busy motion season. So in other words, like I think twice a week he had oral argument. I sat through and watched it, and got to hear him speak about it with his court attorneys and the other interns about what they wanted to do. And then I got to draft a couple of decisions that were heavily revised, but drafted. Yeah.
What decisions did you get to draft?
Like the discovery motions, things like that.
Were you critically thinking in the judges' chambers about these issues?
Yes, I mean, from reading, you read the papers and you try to make a determination as to, what do you think the correct thing is, and also, there are a couple of times where you're faced with deciding, actually is going to impact, an actual case, which at that point in my career, I was like, it felt powerful.
Good. So you went to this judge, you applied to this judge. Did you want a judge's internship?
Did I want? I wanted to do something.
What do you mean?
So that was like.
Were you directionless?
A little bit, yes.
Well, I want to get into that a little bit. So trajectory for you, where were your feet planted when you were in law school?
All over. I just wanted to, pass the bar and be a lawyer.
Where does that come from?
You're there, so you got to finish it out.
Is it part of like the Jewish tradition or something like that? Be a doctor or a lawyer?
I'm sure there's a little bit of that. That wasn't like
I see the inspiration from the trial lawyer, because that popped out of my head. And it's your grandfather. He's the patriarch, and the way he ran his table or his caucus of family. How did you create that direction? Why did you choose to become a lawyer? Was it arbitrary?
A little, yeah, it was, yeah, a little bit, yeah.
And
because you don't really know what it is to be a lawyer until you actually are,
So why'd you pick law? Why not medicine or architecture or engineer? There's a lot of great.
I didn't really have a ton of interest in that. I found the like the materials for the LSTAT to be challenging and interesting.
So I'll tell you a little story about me, about how I decided to become a lawyer. I was actually not destined to be a lawyer at first sight in my life. I was on a very specific path in my life to become an anesthesiologist.
Oh, wow. I had no idea.
And before that, a computer programmer, and before that, an engineer. And in my exploration of who I was, which was very difficult because at the time you're kind of going from high school to college, from college to law. I sat one time in a lunchroom of Hunter College, and I remember being lost. I went to Queens College first, and then I thought, okay, I got like a C- in like chemistry or something like that. I was like, okay, you know what? Or like bio. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go to Baruch College, because in Baruch College, chemistry is easier. So
yeah.
So I transferred to Baruch College, did horribly there as well. Went back from Baruch to Hunter College, and I was eating a sandwich, and I was like, I'm gonna pull out a hat, and I'm gonna decide what I want to do, because medicine's not working out for me. And I was doing well in my philosophy class. I don't know if you took a philosophy class. I really liked it. I was like, you know what? I got an A+ in philosophy. I'm gonna become a lawyer. So that's how I became a lawyer. I took that path, and obviously the rest is really history. But I was directionless too, in that regard. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I mean, people see us now going up against the biggest and the baddest, and we really fit the mold of a lawyer. I think you're a great attorney, but we didn't rise to that path before. That path wasn't really paved for us, and that path was really explored arbitrarily. So let's get into your first job now. Still can't pronounce it.
yeah.
Fino, something like that.
Catafego-Fini.
Catafego-Fini.
The boutique firm, yeah.
The boutique firm.
Yeah.
Tell me about some of the first days. You like to party?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay. Is it more like sports and chess, or more like drinking and girls?
All that.
All that. Yeah. Okay, that's good. So you were a little looser before?
Yeah, definitely, yes.
I want to know where tie me in to the tying in of Adam Sherman.
Mhm.
Tell me about that. How were you tied in? Because I was loose too,
Mhm.
and I'm kind of tied in. And I think my discipline of being tied in was through marriage, through this very serious field that we're in, which is law. It's very regimented and very kind of rule based. But tell me about the tying in of the tying in of Adam. Tell me where that began to happen. Because
Sure.
it doesn't seem like law school did that,
No, not at all.
or the judge,
No, not
or
at
your
all.
family.
Not at all. No, no.
You were kind of loose, and then went poof.
Yeah, it's two segments. I would say the first 4 years of being a lawyer, I was given the opportunity to kind of work with a couple clients very closely.
In your first job.
Yes. So I was, I learned how kind of what clients try to do with the legal system.
Okay.
Their business objectives
Okay.
never aligns with litigation objectives, and that it's not a, I wouldn't call it a battle. That that journey that each client has on a case is something that I learned what a client really wants, which is not always told to you.
So you had experience in the dissertation of a client's business objectives and how those objectives don't at all line up with the litigation?
Correct. And kind of how to help them meet their business objectives through litigation.
Meet their business objectives through litigation. Expand on that.
So I was in contact with one, two, three, four clients almost on a daily basis, where I'm litigating thinking of this is what they want me to do, this having their goal in mind, not necessarily picking apart the other side's arguments. In other words, we're trying to get to a point through the legal system, but that's not where my first thoughts were.
Well, we're looking at, and I appreciate that, but we're looking at the tying in.
No, I'm getting there.
So what started happening? What started happening?
So I'm enjoying that process, and it's not what I thought a lawyer. It's not like you're watching Suits. I'm not reviewing documents all day. I was in court right away, thrown in right away, which I enjoyed.
Is that you're still loose here? You're still.
Mm-hmm.
So what begins to happen? What begins?
4 or 5 years in, I switch. The other partner begins to take an interest in training me, and that's when I became much more regimented. But
became where you were installed to be.
Installed to be, yeah.
And now you became.
Correct. It was a process.
Still loose.
It was a process.
So the first one that trained you, what was his name?
Jacques.
Jacques, and what was his training methods?
Unique. He had
edify that for
me. He has all the tools in terms of writing research, trial experience from prestigious places, etc. But his way of resolving cases was incredibly client focused.
Tell me about that.
To the extent where sometimes we would morph. He would call it morphing into the client. During, let's say mediation or arbitration, settlement conferences, things like that. Really getting the client's voice out there.
Representing the voice of the client.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And were you loose there?
I think we were loose in the sense of that it wasn't staying up till midnight drafting briefs. It was we're not afraid to walk out of a mediation and instead go file a motion the next day.
So it's the creation of leverage.
Yeah.
The institution of leverage.
Yeah.
More theatrical.
Yes.
That some would consider not being a lawyer.
Yeah, it's not what it's not the the Suits way from that show.
Although I probably would argue that maybe because Suits is a lot of negotiation. But
Yeah, that's in terms of like, you're not in a room typing all day.
right,
You know.
right. So the leverage is the cartilage inside the legs.
You can say that. It was we were leading with those type of maneuvers, and then the writing was
Secondary.
secondary. Yes.
It's very interesting, Adam.
Hmm?
It's very interesting. I'm going to get into that in just a second. So you're still loose.
Mhm.
You got your first job. How long were you under the tutelage of Jacques?
About 4 years.
Still loose, not strict.
Yeah. I mean, I'm. It's tightening, but it's still.
What's tightening?
My mindset is tightening.
What's the mindset?
What
What was the mindset before? What was the mindset after?
I was happy to come in on a Sunday and draft an emergency motion because we were looking to get a TRO that I was so closely intertwined with that it was like something that I had to do.
The drive.
Yeah, like I had to do it. Yeah.
Why?
You're talking like a year and a half of a story that, this was the way we can get to the finish line.
The elemental end of that
Right.
finish line, where the client gets a boatload of money or gets some type of injunctive relief.
We actually did not get the injunction, but we did settle the case, and we used the money the client used the money to buy a building that and now he owns the restaurant in that building that I actually ate at last night.
Did you actually make some clients?
A couple, yes.
Good. So let's talk about the tightening.
Mhm.
Tell me when that began.
4 or 5 years in, it was kind of, I didn't, you don't come out of law school. You're never going to come out of law school and be a good writer. I mean, you may have,
Instinct.
yeah, you may have instinct. You may have certain training that you had in college or law school that gave you inclinations, but you don't really know how to construct a good document out of school.
And where'd you learn how to do that?
From the partner,
Which one?
Tom. Tom was his name.
Tom. And where was Tom from?
He was from, some of the biggest. He always told me that, he was trained at Skadden and he worked at Skadden.
Right. Was that impressive to you?
No, because I really wasn't one of those people that even really familiar with the biggest law firms in the country, but it grew on me as it went on.
So talk to me about the tightening. Explain that.
As he reviewed my work, he would tear it to shreds, sometimes literally. And I was kind of blown away by how he would approach writing a brief. It was totally foreign to me about, the level of detail that he wanted to achieve in almost every document he was drafting.
Inform me why that is a good way to practice or not.
In certain circumstances, I think it's good.
Edify that.
If you have a case where you really need to look at every single, like a Rubik's Cube, like every angle to try to get the correct set that will, win you the case. 1,000% that's the way.
but nevertheless, you became tightened.
Yes.
Why?
Yes. I really, we achieved things that I did not think we'd be able to.
And for those reasons, you tightened?
Yes.
And what does tightening mean to you?
If things aren't written in that, or it's also organization is, I think the total difference maker. And how you present an argument can win or lose you a brief.
Seems like a tale of two cities almost, or a tale of two tales. One is
I mean, look, we got good results using both methods, and now I try to combine them both.
well, if you're making a coffee, and those are the two methods,
Mhm.
and coffee is the first method, which is Jacques, and the second method, which is Tom. What is it, 55, 65, 70, 30? Used to be then. What was it then?
Well, when you're working with them, it's kind of it's 100-0.
But what do you value more?
Oh, what do I value?
The loose or the tight?
I would say
Gun to your head. What would you say?
I'm 70-30 with
70
tight.
what?
Tight.
Tight 70, huh?
Yes.
30 loose.
Yes.
Why?
Only because there were so many moments where I thought we were going to lose, where we wound up not only not losing, wound up winning.
So as a consequence of being tighter in your writing,
Yes.
tighter in your preparation,
Yes.
tighter in understanding the judges and understanding the clients also.
Yes. But I will say this, my personal enjoyment plummeted doing that. Yeah.
Why is that?
It's incredible. It was incredibly difficult.
Daunting.
Incredibly difficult.
What is the it that you're discussing?
Getting
What to?
Getting to that level of detail, the nuanced arguments is just, it takes so much time to get used to that, thinking that way.
Do you think clients complain about their bills?
Oh, for sure. For sure.
But
Yeah.
you tell them you'd win.
We presented in a way that explains why we think we can get there. So in terms of, it's not just 1 + 1 is 2. It's like 1 + 1 divided by X, square root of this gets you to whatever number you need.
Do you appreciate the training?
Looking back, yes.
Why is that?
Because if I didn't have that, I don't think I would be as good of a lawyer as I believe I am today.
And why do you believe that you're such a great lawyer?
I didn't say that. But we have success here at Jacobs PC, and in part of that, I've used techniques that I was taught there. Employed them here.
Well, now you work at Jacobs PC and you're a partner at Jacobs PC.
Yes.
The ascension is pretty admirable. What have you learned different here, if anything?
We have our own way that is kind of like a combination of both. I wouldn't say it's 50-50 or 60-40. It's constantly,
Positional.
shifting based on what leverage we want in the cases.
How do we use the law?
Well, here's the other thing. Here, I'll give you an example. If I was, before I started here, if I'm on a case where, it's a breach of contract, and when you're first reading it, you're like, oh, they didn't pay the contract. Most commercial litigators are thinking, okay, well, what can I really do for the client here? That's not the case here.
What's the case here?
You're looking at, well, wait a second.
How can we leverage this?
Yeah. Can we file bankruptcy? Can we move to dismiss and then talk to the client about filing bankruptcy?
Can we do a 5240?
So also post-judgment remedies, which is something that I would say 98% of commercial litigators just do not know. They think that when the judgment hits, the case is over, or they've done their job.
And we're in the beginning of that, not in the ending.
Yeah, I mean, we just go, okay, now that here's our next recommendation. It's not, goodbye.
So, did you ever have personal hardships that you had to go through in the span between, say, high school and working for?
Absolutely, yeah.
Did you ever get sued?
Yes.
Tell me about that.
Sure. I can confidently say I've never been sued for malpractice.
Me too.
I was not sued for malpractice. I was sued in connection with being a notary. I notarized something that the person that signed it, they claimed that they were intoxicated when they signed it.
Wow. And you had to testify.
I didn't have to. I submitted an affidavit, but the case never got that far.
So testifying by paper.
Right. And I will add, I was never sued by the guy who was actually claimed he was intoxicated. The guy who was intoxicated sued the law firm who was representing him, different law firm, not Catafago Feeney. He actually was represented by Catafago Feeney for malpractice. That law firm, in turn, said, no, it's not our fault, it's my fault. the notary. When that was my role, was the notary. It's the notary's fault, me.
But ultimately, it was dismissed.
Yes. Yeah.
And you had to pay nothing, and you got out of it.
Yes. Yes.
So that's your professional life. Personal stuff. What could you tell me about your personal life that was, something of a drag or a trial or tribulation that you had to go through? If it accounts for one, or was your life just all sunshine and rainbows?
No. I guess this isn't an inspiration as to why I wanted to become a lawyer, but I used to play competitive chess when I was in high school, going into college.
Tell me about that.
It kind of happened by accident. I needed a community service requirement. When you go to public school in Manhattan.
Of course.
And at the elementary school I went to, the only thing they had open was chess with the kids. So I knew how to kind of play, but they had a Chessmaster there, and I started to play, with these kids in elementary school, and the Chessmaster took a liking to me, and he became my coach. I started playing in tournaments.
What's your ranking, or was your ranking?
My rating at the time that I stopped was 1860.
That's very high. Is that Chessmaster?
Chessmaster's 2200. So I was almost there.
Okay.
Almost there.
Okay. Were you proud of that?
Yes. I believe. Look, the way chess kind of works, like the law, is that if you don't do it every day, if you don't do it as your profession, it kind of you can only get to a certain level. So I got to a level where it was literally well, are you going to be a chess player when you grow up, or are you going to,
go do something else?
Go do something else, yeah. Because you have to play it all day to get to, a master's rating.
So you spoke about chess as something that had edified your life. Why is that?
It's first of all, it's regimented, the way you prepare. You're memorizing a lot of patterns. That's kind of what chess is, and you're calculating. Whether, it's 5 moves ahead, 6 moves ahead, you're doing puzzles.
So how do you translate that to law?
The facts of the cases are sometimes incredibly easy to recognize. Sure, they're always different in a sense, but in a grand scale, a lot of these patterns keep popping up, and which moves to make, very quickly.
Would you want to have become the Chessmaster?
I really enjoy the game. The only thing is the effort it takes, when you're sitting at the table for 4 or 5 hours on one game is it's like a sport. You're exhausted at the end.
Do you do that here? And
oh yeah, for sure. Yeah.
And what is it that you do?
The way it kind of, in my view, kind of works in the law is that it's, motion practice could be, you make a certain mistake, you've lost the motion. You never really know what a judge is going to latch on to, and if you're not careful, that's it. You could lose.
So, Adam, the Chessmaster, Sherman.
I never got there. Almost, but yeah.
Not Brad, the Chessmaster. And I think it's a good name for you.
Okay.
I'm known as they really call me the street brawler.
Oh, really? That's interesting, huh?
Call me the street brawler. You don't. In my practice with you, I never considered you a street brawler. I considered you someone that is methodical, and really someone that plays chess. And you are tight, and in chess you have to be tight. Mm-hmm. So, what do you think about the moniker of being the chess master in the law?
Well, look, I will say this: just because you're playing chess doesn't mean you don't take risk. There's one of the things that I liked about chess is I used to play. They call it gambits. So what's a gambit is when you're in the opening of the game, you sacrifice a pawn or two to have a more aggressive position. those are my favorite openings that I played. And that's kind of what we are doing here in my view. We are playing gambits in a way. Like let's say you have a party going for a TRO and we're responding to it right away, which is even without having an order, which is sometimes, which is, I would say, pretty unorthodox.
I have a question for you. Since we're taking a step of you being the chess master, that being your nickname.
Yeah.
Are you the one that's playing the game, or are you directing the client to play the game? What does a chess master do?
It's in depositions. It's you're directing the client.
So you're the chess master directing the client, the player.
Yes. Yeah. At depositions, the client is the player. Yes, for sure.
Where are you the chess master?
When you're drafting the papers, or when you're in court, I would say, or let's say a mediation, settlement conference, etc. Yeah.
Well, sometimes you got to move the client out of court.
Yes.
They're very difficult. Some of our billionaire, millionaire clients, you got to move them outside of court.
Yes. And that's its own
chess
challenge.
game.
Yes. Yes.
And how do you do that effectively, knowing those principles as a chess master?
You really have to explain to the client in a way that they appreciate, what the law is and what their facts are.
And the law and the facts should instruct the client to move.
Yes, absolutely, yes.
In fact, they're called motions in court, right?
Yes.
Do we have motions in out of court?
Absolutely.
So let me understand this correctly. In some instances, the client is the piece in the board.
Yes.
In some instances, the client's the player. And in other instances, you're not the player, you're the chess master that's telling the client, who's the player, to move the pieces down the board.
Yes. Yes. Or whether it's, take this deal.
Take this deal.
Yes.
Have you successfully harnessed and honed your skills here at Jacobs PC?
Absolutely, yes. Yes.
As the chess master, moving the player, moving the pieces, which ones?
All of them. All of them.
Which one do you enjoy most?
Being able to not be the person who's typing, but getting the right result is what I would say is the best part of being a lawyer.
In chess, you can lose in the middle of the game. You could win at the end of the game.
Correct.
When you're losing in the middle of the game, say, what has to happen in your head as a chess master playing the game?
The first thing is you have to realize that you are losing. You have to realize you are losing or in danger of having the game lost.
So tell me more about how
that
you
I'm
traverse
saying that.
that.
I'm saying that because a lot of times, while we always write strong papers, the reality of what is written and what stage you're in sometimes is not the same. So that you're in the mid game, let's say, and you're in a defensive posture. You may only have one or two instances to really aggressively change the outcome of the game.
Until you ask for either a stalemate.
Yeah, or a draw, and there are times when, you want to ask for a draw and fight for another day,
How would you toggle a street brawler and a chess master? What's their differences? What's their similarities?
Well, the similarities is that both frankly both chess and street brawling is in your face. I mean, in my view, you're not behind a computer screen in chess. Unless you're playing online. But tournaments are in person. You're right next to the guy. or sometimes, I always used to get up from the table and walk around. Like, you're right next to the guy, and it's not a very polite game. To be honest with you, it's not. Sure, people shake hands and blah blah blah, but it's a nasty game. You're trying to win. So in that vein, I think it's actually similar.
And where is it different?
Where is it different? You can't.
Well, for one, the field of brawler is outside.
Yes.
It's not in a ring.
Correct. I would say that there's obviously you're not in a rule-based, type of game.
The street rules.
Yeah.
The street rules, there are no rules.
Yeah. Exactly.
In chess, there are.
Yes.
So understanding how to move when there are no rules, which is outside the box,
Mm-hmm.
and learning how to move inside the rules, which is inside the box.
Mm-hmm.
Which one's more important, if any?
No, you need both.
Give me an example of how you have to employ both as a chess master
Mhm.
and as a street brawler.
Sure. I mean, look, you can write the most beautiful, brief in the world, but if you just rely on that in litigation, you're missing out on really getting the best leverage you can get.
And where does that leverage come from?
It comes from playing outside the box, thinking outside the box.
So in your life, now that you're here at Jacobs PC, how do you confront the impossible?
Well, look, a lot of times the way to resolve a case favorably is not filing a motion. It might be. You might get leverage that way. A lot of times you can. But it's contacting and moving someone outside of the court a lot of times. That's not necessarily involved in the case, not a witness, nothing. Whether it's getting a buyer in to save, a distressed client, things like that. Those type of moves have nothing to do really with the merits of a dispute.
Well, Adam, I think we had a great conversation today.
Yes, I think so.
About how to confront the impossible. You are the chess master in that regard. And until next time.
Until next time.
Thank you.